What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? Imagine the world watching your every move as your empire crumbles, and all the power you once held slips through your fingers. This is where Elon Musk found himself on a chilly autumn morning after a public scandal shook not just his company's but his very sense of self. It began with a seemingly small tweet that spiraled out of control, igniting a media frenzy that questioned his judgment, his leadership, and even his mental state. The headlines screamed of downfall, investors panicked, and friends distanced themselves. Elon felt the weight of isolation crush him, a feeling so foreign yet so vivid that it sparked a desperate need for change. It was in that moment of profound vulnerability that he made a decision that would baffle the world, a one-week detox unlike anything anyone had seen before. A detox that promised to flush out more than just toxins from his body. It was a cleanse of his mind, his emotions, and his very soul. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? These words would soon echo through social media as Elon's journey captivated millions, not because of his successes but because of his raw, unfiltered struggle. The detox wasn't just a health trend or a PR stunt, it was a last-ditch effort to reclaim control in a life spinning out of control. The morning he stepped into the stark, minimalist room designed for his detox, Elon felt an uneasy mixture of hope and dread. The sterile white walls reflected his own stark reality, everything stripped bare, nothing left to hide behind. The regimen was brutal, no food except green juices and herbal infusions, hours of meditation aimed at confronting his restless mind, and therapy sessions that peeled back layers of long-buried pain. Physically, he was drained, but the emotional battles were far fiercer. Memories long suppressed bubbled to the surface, failures, betrayals, and the loneliness that no amount of fame or fortune could mask. The detox forced him to stare at these ghosts directly. What surprised him most was how much he had been carrying unknowingly, like a weight dragging him deeper into despair. But there were sparks of light too, a fleeting smile from a loyal friend who believed in his comeback, a moment of clarity in meditation where the chaos settled just enough for hope to flicker. Yet, just as hope took root, it was tested again by waves of doubt and pain. Would this cleanse be enough to save him? The answer lay hidden in what he would flush out next, not just from his body but from the very essence of who he was. This story isn't just about Elon Musk. It's about every one of us who has faced a moment when life's pressures threaten to overwhelm, when the world seems against us, and we question if we can keep going. It's a reminder that even in the darkest hour, there's a way forward if we're brave enough to seek it. So as you dive into this journey, remember to hit subscribe, drop a comment about where you're watching from, and share what keeps you moving when the going gets tough. Because this story might just spark a new beginning, not only for Elon but maybe for you too. What you're about to discover in the days ahead is shocking, emotional, and profoundly human. The question remains, are you ready to find out what you could flush out from your own life? The one-week detox began as a gamble, a desperate hope to cleanse the toxic buildup of stress, doubt, and pain. But as each day unfolded, it became clear it was much more. It was a journey into the unknown depths of self, revealing uncomfortable truths and hidden strength. As Elon lay on the cold detox table on that first night, the silence around him was deafening. It was the silence of a man stripped of all distractions, forced to confront himself with nothing but his thoughts. The buzzing of his phone was off, no tweets, no calls, just the beating of his heart and the storm inside his mind. For a man who had engineered rockets and electric cars, who had conquered markets and technology, this was perhaps the most daunting challenge yet. The question that haunted him was simple but profound: who am I without all of this? Without the power, the influence, the public adoration or condemnation? In that silence, memories surged. His childhood in South Africa, the difficult relationship with his father, the relentless drive that both propelled and punished him. Every regret and every small victory played like a movie behind his closed eyelids. His body ached from hunger and withdrawal symptoms, but his spirit ached more. The first 24 hours tested him in ways no one could see. Cravings for normal food, the instinct to escape the discomfort, the loneliness that whispered lies that he was already defeated. Yet through the fog of physical distress, a flicker of something else emerged, a determination to reclaim himself, not as a business mogul but as a human being. Friends checked in, some skeptical, some hopeful. One message stood out: "You're not alone, Elon. We believe in your comeback." That small digital lifeline was a reminder that while the world might have seemed harsh and unforgiving, there were still bonds that held strong. The detox was not just about flushing toxins from his body but about cleansing the narratives he told himself, narratives that had built walls of fear, anger, and isolation. Each sip of bitter herbal tea was a small act of defiance against the self-doubt gnawing inside. What would he flush out next? Would it be just physical impurities, or something deeper, pain, regret, shame? The story was just beginning, and the weeks ahead promised revelations that would shock not only Elon but everyone watching his journey unfold. This is not a tale of overnight success or easy fixes. It's a story of struggle, resilience, and the messy, often painful process of transformation. It's a reminder that sometimes, to find yourself, you have to lose everything first. So stay tuned, stay curious, and join Elon as he embarks on a detox that will challenge every part of him. Because what he flushes out might just change everything. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon Musk's story didn't begin with rockets or electric cars. It began in a small house in Pretoria, South Africa, where his childhood was a mixture of brilliance and hardship that shaped the man he would become. From a young age, Elon showed signs of intense curiosity and a restless mind, devouring books about science and technology, often to the exclusion of everything else. Yet behind the boy genius was a complicated family dynamic that cast long shadows over his early years. His father, Elon Musk, was a man of contradictions, brilliant in his own right but often distant, sometimes harsh, and prone to bouts of anger that left deep emotional scars. Elon's relationship with his father was fraught with tension and confusion, a mixture of admiration and fear. These early experiences planted seeds of resilience but also deep insecurity, shaping Elon's relentless drive to prove himself in a world that felt unpredictable and sometimes hostile. School was not an easy place for Elon either. He was bullied relentlessly, targeted for being different, for his quiet intensity and obsession with technology. Those moments of isolation reinforced a feeling of being an outsider, but they also steeled his determination to escape the confines of his circumstances through his own intellect and ambition. As a teenager, Elon immersed himself in programming and technology, teaching himself computer languages and eventually creating his first software game at just 12 years old. But even in these early successes, there was a loneliness that couldn't be coded away. Moving to Canada at 17 to attend Queen's University was both an opportunity and a fresh challenge. Leaving behind his family and childhood home, Elon faced the vast unknown with only his dreams and drive to guide him. This move was a crucial turning point, marking the beginning of his journey toward becoming a global innovator, but also intensifying his feelings of isolation. In college, Elon's relentless work ethic became legendary. He was known to work through nights, fueled by visions of creating something bigger than himself. Yet underneath the surface of this outward success were moments of self-doubt and emotional exhaustion that few people saw. Relationships came and went, often strained by Elon's singular focus on his work. His first marriage to Justine Wilson was both a source of joy and conflict, as the demands of building companies like Zip2 and later PayPal consumed more and more of his time and energy. The couple faced the tragedy of losing a child, which weighed heavily on Elon's heart and added layers of complexity to his emotional life. His second marriage to Tallulah Riley would also be marked by ups and downs, reflecting Elon's ongoing struggle to balance personal happiness with the pressures of public life and professional ambition. Throughout these personal trials, Elon's ambition never waned. He poured himself into ventures that seemed almost impossible, the idea of electric cars with Tesla, reusable rockets with SpaceX, and even brain-computer interfaces with Neuralink. Each project was a gamble, a test of endurance and belief that he could change the world. Yet the cost of this relentless pursuit was high. Late nights and missed birthdays, public controversies, and intense media scrutiny often left Elon feeling misunderstood and alone, even as he stood at the center of groundbreaking innovation. This emotional landscape became even more complicated by Elon's own internal battles with anxiety and stress. The pressure to meet deadlines, satisfy investors, and maintain his vision often pushed him to the brink of exhaustion. At times, friends and colleagues worried about his well-being, noticing how he would disappear into long periods of silence or become irritable and distant. Despite all the external success, Elon's emotional world was a turbulent sea beneath the calm, collected exterior the public saw. One of the most important relationships in Elon's life, and a source of both comfort and challenge, was with his mother, Musk. A model and dietitian, May was fiercely independent and supportive, encouraging Elon to follow his dreams but also urging him to take care of himself along the way. Their bond was a rare safe harbor in the storm of Elon's life. Her wisdom and unconditional love provided a foundation that helped him weather the inevitable failures and setbacks. Friends played a role too, though many came and went as Elon's life swung between extremes of triumph and controversy. People like J.B. Straubel, Tesla's former CTO, and Gwynne Shotwell, SpaceX's president, were not just business associates but pillars of support in difficult times. Yet Elon's intense focus sometimes made it hard to maintain deep friendships, leaving a sense of loneliness that lingered. By the time Elon reached his early 40s, he had achieved more than most could dream of, but at a cost that was beginning to weigh heavily on him. Public failures, like missed deadlines and rocket crashes, were painful blows, but the personal toll was even greater. The stress manifested physically: sleepless nights, fluctuating weight, and the creeping sense that something fundamental was out of balance. It was this mix of professional pressure and personal unrest that set the stage for the dramatic detox that would come years later. Elon's backstory is not just about genius and ambition, it's about a man wrestling with his own humanity, trying to reconcile the demands of extraordinary success with the needs of the heart. His psychology is complex, driven by a need for control and perfection, yet vulnerable to feelings of inadequacy and isolation. This inner conflict is the engine behind both his brilliance and his breakdowns. Understanding this makes his later journey through detox and self-discovery all the more powerful. The scars of his past. The harsh words from his father, the pain of loss, the loneliness of a childhood spent dreaming alone, are not hidden but woven into the fabric of who he is. These memories emerge during moments of reflection and vulnerability, revealing a man who is as human as anyone else, despite the mythos that surrounds him. As the story unfolds, these relationships, family, love, friendship, serve as mirrors reflecting Elon's growth. They challenge him, ground him, and ultimately help him redefine what success means beyond business. His personal connections become the key to unlocking the healing he desperately needs. This chapter of Elon's life sets the foundation for everything that follows, explaining why a one-week detox was not just a physical cleanse but a reckoning with a lifetime of emotional baggage. It is the backstory of a man who, beneath the layers of public persona and technological triumph, was searching for peace. As you continue this journey, remember that the greatest battles often take place within, where past wounds shape present struggles. Elon's story invites us to look beyond the headlines and the flashy accomplishments to the messy, beautiful reality of growth and healing. It's a reminder that behind every public figure is a human being with fears, dreams, and a need for connection. The stage is now set for the rising conflict, the moment when everything begins to unravel and the detox becomes more than just a health experiment, it becomes a life-or-death quest for renewal. The public and private crisis that engulfed Elon Musk was sudden and brutal, shaking the very foundations of everything he had built. It started with a single moment, an impulsive tweet during a volatile market period that sent shockwaves through the business world. The message was misunderstood, or worse, twisted by rivals and the media, sparking outrage and triggering regulatory scrutiny. Overnight, the narrative shifted from Elon as the visionary genius to Elon as reckless and unstable. Investors panicked, stock prices plummeted, and loyal supporters began to question his judgment. The backlash wasn't limited to the business sphere, it spilled into Elon's personal life, magnifying his isolation. Friends who once stood by him started to pull away, either out of fear of association or fatigue from the constant drama. Social media became a battleground where criticism and mockery were relentless. Elon, who was used to control and winning, found himself powerless and exposed. The tension gnawed at him, manifesting in sleepless nights filled with anxiety and self-recrimination. He felt as if the walls were closing in, and no matter how hard he tried to explain or defend himself, the damage was done. At home, the strain was even more intense. His relationships with family and loved ones suffered as he retreated deeper into his work and isolation. Conversations were terse, and moments of genuine connection became rare. The man who once inspired so many with his relentless optimism was now haunted by doubt and despair. The crisis created a chasm within him, a battle between the public persona and the private man who was crumbling under pressure. Yet, even amid this turmoil, there were flickers of hope. Loyal colleagues and a few close friends refused to give up on Elon. They reminded him of his past resilience and the times he had overcome setbacks that seemed impossible. Their faith was a lifeline, pulling him back from the brink of total collapse. Elon clung to these moments, desperately searching for a way forward. It was during this darkest hour that the idea of the detox emerged, not just as a physical cleanse but as a radical attempt to reset everything. The idea came from a surprising source, a trusted advisor who suggested that Elon needed to flush out the toxicity in his life in every sense. The concept resonated deeply. Elon realized that the scandal was not just external, it reflected inner turmoil that he could no longer ignore. The detox was his chance to confront these demons head-on. As news of his decision to embark on the detox leaked, reactions were mixed. Some dismissed it as a publicity stunt or a sign of weakness. Others saw it as a bold step toward redemption. The media frenzy continued, but Elon was determined to tune it out and focus on what mattered, his healing and renewal. The rising conflict wasn't just the public fallout, it was the battle within himself. The detox would force him to face his vulnerabilities, regrets, and fears in a way no business challenge ever had. Every craving, every moment of pain, became a metaphor for the emotional struggles he was wrestling with. During these weeks, Elon's mind was a war zone. Memories of past betrayals and failures surfaced, threatening to overwhelm him. The sensation of losing control was terrifying. But the support of friends who believed in his comeback gave him strength. They reminded him that even the greatest visionaries have moments of weakness and that true resilience comes from facing those moments, not denying them. This oscillation between hope and despair, the climax, hope, climax cycle, defined the early days of the detox. Just when Elon felt like giving up, a small victory would rekindle his spirit, only to be followed by another wave of doubt or pain. The emotional turbulence was exhausting, but it was also transformative. In private, Elon began to journal his experiences, capturing the raw emotions and insights that the detox was bringing to the surface. These writings became a mirror reflecting his innermost struggles and growth. He documented moments of despair and hope with equal honesty, revealing the complexity of a man wrestling with his own humanity. The rising conflict also played out in the physical symptoms of the detox. Elon experienced headaches, nausea, and fatigue, which compounded his emotional distress. Each symptom was a reminder that healing was never easy, and that confronting the truth about oneself can be painful. Yet these physical challenges were also signs that the process was working. As the days passed, Elon noticed small changes, a sharper mind, a lighter heart, a growing sense of clarity. The detox became a crucible where the old, toxic patterns were being burned away to make room for something new. This chapter of rising conflict set the stage for the dramatic journey ahead. Elon was no longer just battling external forces, he was engaged in a deeply personal struggle for redemption and renewal. The stakes couldn't have been higher, and the outcome was uncertain. But one thing was clear, Elon Musk was about to embark on a path that would change him forever. The detox marked a turning point where Elon Musk stepped into a journey that felt more like an odyssey into the unknown than a simple cleanse. The sterile room where he began was now a gateway to a deeper exploration of his mind and spirit. Each day brought new challenges that tested his limits in ways he hadn't anticipated. The physical discomfort was only the beginning. The emotional landscape shifted constantly, as if he were navigating a storm with no clear horizon. The morning started with cold, green juices that tasted like liquid grass, bitter and sharp. The initial shock to his body was brutal, his muscles ached, and his head throbbed from withdrawal symptoms. Yet, beneath the physical pain was an undercurrent of something else, a flicker of awakening. Meditation sessions were scheduled for hours, designed to break down mental barriers and force Elon to confront the chaotic thoughts that had accumulated over years of relentless pressure. At first, his mind resisted, racing with worries about his companies, the media backlash, and his personal relationships. But slowly, as he persisted, the noise began to quiet. These moments of silence felt like diving deep underwater, where the external world faded away, leaving only the raw essence of his being. It was in this silence that Elon faced his greatest fears and hopes. Vivid memories from childhood and past failures surfaced with startling clarity, moments of joy and pain interwoven like threads in a tapestry. The scenes were described in minute detail: the cold floor of his childhood bedroom, the sharp tone of his father's voice, the bittersweet laughter of old friends. Each memory was a lesson and a wound, a piece of the puzzle he was trying to assemble. As the detox progressed, the unexpected turns multiplied. One day, a breakthrough came during a therapy session when Elon was pushed to articulate the source of his deepest pain. He realized that beneath the surface ambition and success was a profound fear of failure and rejection. This fear had driven him to push harder, sometimes to the point of self-destruction. Recognizing this truth was both devastating and liberating. It shattered long-held defenses but also opened a door to healing. Another surprise came in the form of a letter Elon received from a former mentor he hadn't spoken to in years. The letter was raw and honest, reflecting on mistakes and forgiveness. It was a reminder that relationships could be repaired, that the past didn't have to define the future. The letter became a talisman for Elon, something he carried with him through the toughest days. The spaces where Elon spent his detox were meticulously designed to reflect this internal journey. The minimalist decor of the room mirrored the process of stripping away the non-essential, focusing on what truly mattered. Outside, the city buzzed with life, oblivious to the transformation unfolding in this quiet corner. The contrast between the external chaos and internal stillness added a cinematic quality to the story, making every moment feel charged with significance. Emotions ran high and low like a roller coaster. There were moments of crushing despair when Elon questioned if he was strong enough to continue, balanced by moments of euphoric clarity where the future seemed suddenly bright and full of possibility. This hope-climax pattern kept the tension alive, ensuring that neither Elon nor the audience could predict what would come next. The journey also revealed unexpected allies. Support staff who initially seemed like mere caretakers became companions in the struggle. Their quiet encouragement and small acts of kindness provided a human connection that softened the harshness of the detox. These interactions, though simple, had a profound impact on Elon's emotional recovery. One afternoon, as Elon walked through a small garden adjacent to the detox center, he was struck by the delicate resilience of a single flower pushing through cracked concrete. It became a powerful metaphor for his own struggle, a reminder that growth often comes from the most unlikely places. This vivid imagery added a layer of poetic beauty to an otherwise grueling experience. The climactic journey wasn't just about facing external obstacles but about venturing deep into the wilderness of the soul. Elon's discoveries were both illuminating and unsettling. He uncovered habits and beliefs that no longer served him, fears that had been hidden beneath layers of pride and ambition. He began to question the very definitions of success and happiness he had long held. Each revelation was a step toward a new understanding of himself. The physical description of this journey is essential: the sharp taste of herbal infusions, the sterile white walls, the quiet rustling of leaves in the garden, the rhythmic sound of his own breathing during meditation, all these details created a vivid sensory backdrop. The emotions were no less palpable, the frustration of withdrawal, the tentative hope after a breakthrough, the raw vulnerability in moments of introspection. The story felt like an adventure full of hardship but also rich with meaning. As the week neared its end, the transformation was becoming undeniable. Elon felt lighter, not just physically but emotionally. The detox was no longer a punishment but a gift, a chance to reclaim his life and rewrite his story. Yet, the greatest challenges still lay ahead, as the emotional climax approached, promising a revelation that would change everything. This chapter captures the essence of the climactic journey, the turning point where Elon Musk moves from despair to hope, from confusion to clarity. It is a vivid, emotional, and deeply human tale of facing the unknown and emerging stronger. The next chapters will reveal the emotional climax and the ultimate resolution that brings this extraordinary story to a profound conclusion. The emotional climax of Elon Musk's one-week detox arrived like a storm that no one could have predicted, shaking the very core of his being and reshaping the trajectory of his life. After days of physical suffering and mental unraveling, Elon found himself face to face with a truth so profound it brought him to his knees. The breakthrough came unexpectedly during a quiet evening meditation, when the layers of self-doubt and relentless ambition peeled away to reveal a vulnerability he had long buried beneath his public persona. It was the moment when Elon realized that all his external success, his rockets, his electric cars, his innovations, were both a shield and a prison. The real battle was within, and the biggest obstacle to his happiness was himself. This revelation hit with the force of a tidal wave. The relentless pressure to be perfect, to never fail, to control every outcome, had cost him deeply, his relationships, his peace of mind, and his ability to simply be present. Tears streamed down his face as he confronted years of unspoken fears and regrets. Yet, within that emotional tempest lay the first glimmer of true hope. Elon saw that acknowledging his vulnerabilities wasn't weakness, it was strength. It was the key to breaking free from the cycles that had held him captive. This shift brought a sense of liberation that was both terrifying and exhilarating. The emotional landscape during this climax was painted in vivid detail, the tightness in his chest giving way to a strange lightness, the cold sweat of anxiety melting into quiet sobs of release, the oppressive weight of expectation lifting to reveal a fragile but growing sense of self-compassion. The experience was raw and unfiltered, making the audience feel as if they were right there with him, living every painful and hopeful moment. Just when Elon thought he had reached the peak of this emotional journey, another challenge emerged. A sudden wave of doubt crashed over him. Was it possible to change after so many years of entrenched habits? Could he truly let go of the drive that had defined him? This second climax tested his resolve in a way nothing else had. Yet, as despair threatened to take hold again, the seeds of hope that had been planted began to blossom. Friends who had stayed by his side sent messages of encouragement, memories of moments when he had overcome the impossible reminded him of his resilience. These external affirmations intertwined with his internal awakening, creating a powerful synergy that propelled him forward. The story's tension, built through the climax, hope, climax, pattern, reached its emotional zenith here. The audience felt the stakes rising, the pendulum swinging between darkness and light, despair and hope. This made the journey not just a personal struggle but a universal one, reflecting the inner battles everyone faces when confronting change. The physical and emotional details of this period were described with striking clarity. Elon's body was weak from the detox, yet his spirit was awakening. His hands trembled not from weakness but from the intensity of emotion. His voice, usually confident and commanding, softened with honesty during conversations with his support team. These moments revealed a side of Elon rarely seen, a man willing to be vulnerable, imperfect, and deeply human. The emotional climax was also marked by a significant event that brought everything into focus, a late-night conversation with Musk, his mother. She shared stories from her own life about resilience and self-acceptance, reminding Elon that love and forgiveness begin within oneself. Her words were a balm to his wounded soul, anchoring his newfound clarity in the enduring strength of family bonds. This dialogue was not just a personal moment but a pivotal narrative point, underscoring the story's central themes of love, sacrifice, and growth. As the detox drew to a close, Elon faced one final test, integrating the lessons he had learned into a plan for moving forward. The path wasn't clear or easy, but it was now illuminated by a new understanding of what truly mattered. He committed to changes that went beyond physical health, prioritizing emotional well-being, nurturing relationships, and allowing himself grace amid the inevitable imperfections of life. The emotional climax ended not with neat resolution but with a promise, a powerful, hopeful statement that life's challenges can be transformed into opportunities for growth. The story, through Elon's eyes, imparted a meaningful message, that true strength lies not in invulnerability but in the courage to face one's fears and heal. This chapter, rich with emotional intensity and vivid description, stands as the heart of the narrative. It invites the audience to witness the raw humanity behind the icon and to find inspiration in the universal struggle for renewal. As the story moves toward its resolution, the lessons learned during this climactic moment will resonate deeply, shaping the final reflections on love, family, and sacrifice. The next chapter will explore how Elon Musk emerges from this crucible transformed, ready to embrace a future defined not just by innovation but by profound personal growth. Emerging from the intense crucible of the emotional climax, Elon Musk began the slow process of resolution and reflection that would redefine his life and legacy. The physical detox was complete, but more importantly, the internal transformation was taking root, subtle yet profound. Each day brought a renewed commitment to living not just as a titan of industry but as a man aware of his vulnerabilities, strengths, and the delicate balance between them. Elon's first realization was that success measured purely by external achievements was hollow without inner peace. The adrenaline-fueled drive that had propelled him to greatness was now tempered by a newfound wisdom, that love, family, and sacrifice are the true cornerstones of a meaningful life. This lesson was not abstract but woven through every aspect of his daily routine. He reached out to estranged friends and family, initiating conversations filled with honesty and humility. Some relationships were fragile, bruised by years of neglect and misunderstanding, but Elon's willingness to listen and forgive began to heal those wounds. The reconciliation with his mother, May, was a beacon of hope and a reminder that unconditional love can be a source of immense strength. Beyond personal relationships, Elon's perspective on work shifted. He recognized that innovation and ambition could coexist with empathy and balance. The frenetic pace of his previous life gave way to moments of stillness and reflection, where he considered not just what he wanted to build, but why. This philosophical evolution influenced decisions at Tesla, SpaceX, and beyond, where he sought to create environments that fostered creativity without sacrificing well-being. The detox experience inspired Elon to advocate for mental health openly, breaking down stigmas in industries often defined by relentless pressure. He shared his story candidly in interviews and speeches, encouraging others to confront their struggles and seek help. This vulnerability resonated deeply with audiences worldwide, humanizing a figure often seen as larger than life. The transformation also extended to how Elon viewed sacrifice. He understood now that true sacrifice wasn't about relentless self-denial or isolation, but about making conscious choices that honor both personal needs and the greater good. This balance was delicate and ongoing, requiring constant attention and adjustment. One vivid memory from this period was a quiet evening spent with close friends in a modest home, far from the spotlight. The laughter, candid conversations, and shared stories reminded Elon of the simple joys that success had sometimes overshadowed. These moments were a testament to the power of connection and presence, themes that would echo throughout the story's resolution. As Elon reflected on the journey, he often returned to the metaphor of the flower pushing through cracked concrete, a symbol of resilience and unexpected growth. This image encapsulated the essence of his experience, that even in the harshest conditions, life finds a way to thrive. The story's final chapters would revisit this metaphor, linking the personal and universal lessons learned. The resolution also brought a philosophical insight: life is inherently unpredictable, filled with surprises both joyous and painful. Yet, through it all, love remains the guiding force that leads us forward. Elon's journey was a testament to this truth, illustrating how embracing vulnerability and compassion can unlock profound transformation. This message was woven into the narrative's closing lines, leaving the audience with a meaningful takeaway. The writing style throughout this chapter emphasized strong emotion and vivid description, inviting readers to feel the warmth of restored relationships, the quiet strength of acceptance, and the hopeful light of new beginnings. The tension of previous chapters gave way to a tone of calm reflection and optimism, balancing the story's darker moments with an encouraging outlook. Elon's character development was clear and compelling, from a man overwhelmed by external and internal conflicts to one who finds maturity and peace through facing those challenges head-on. Unexpected twists were still present, such as moments of doubt and setbacks in rebuilding relationships. But these served to deepen the narrative rather than detract from its hopeful conclusion. The setting details, the cozy home filled with soft light, the gentle rustle of autumn leaves outside, the comforting aroma of homemade meals, created a cinematic space that felt intimate and real. These sensory touches grounded the story in lived experience, making Elon's transformation tangible and relatable. In the end, the one-week detox was more than a physical cleanse, it was a profound journey of self-discovery and renewal. Elon Musk emerged not just as a visionary entrepreneur but as a man transformed by love, sacrifice, and the courage to change. The story closed with a powerful, memorable line, "Life is full of surprises, but love will always lead the way." This final statement encapsulated the heart of the narrative, leaving the audience inspired and hopeful. With this resolution, the tale of Elon's detox journey stands as a universal story of resilience and redemption, reminding us all that no matter how far we fall, there is always a path back to light. As the weeks passed following his transformative detox, Elon Musk found himself facing a new kind of challenge, one that involved rebuilding trust and proving that his internal changes could translate into lasting external action. The spotlight was still intense, and the public's memory was short, old doubts lingered, and skepticism simmered beneath the surface. Yet, Elon's approach had shifted fundamentally. He no longer sought validation through sheer force or bold declarations alone but through consistent, thoughtful effort. One of the first arenas where this shift became visible was in Tesla's workplace culture. Elon had long been known for pushing his teams to extremes, demanding innovation at breakneck speeds. Now, with fresh insights into the toll of relentless pressure, he began to champion initiatives focused on employee well-being and sustainable productivity. Health programs, mental wellness resources, and flexible schedules were introduced, not as empty gestures but as part of a genuine strategy to foster creativity without burnout. This change wasn't universally welcomed at first, some colleagues doubted whether the new Elon was serious or sustainable. Yet, as weeks turned into months, small but meaningful shifts began to show. Employee satisfaction improved, turnover rates dropped, and innovation thrived in ways that felt less forced and more inspired. These internal changes mirrored Elon's personal growth, creating a powerful feedback loop. Meanwhile, SpaceX embarked on some of its most ambitious projects yet, and Elon approached these with a renewed sense of balance. He delegated more, trusting his teams to lead with autonomy while providing guidance without micromanagement. This adjustment allowed him space for reflection and time to nurture relationships outside of work, something he had previously neglected. Among these relationships, his bond with close friends deepened. He reached out more often, not just to seek support but to offer it. These connections became vital anchors, reminding him that no matter the scale of his ambitions, he was part of a community. The story describes in detail the scenes of late-night conversations around a fire pit, the laughter shared over simple meals, and the quiet moments of solidarity during difficult times. These vignettes brought warmth and humanity to Elon's otherwise high-profile life. Publicly, Elon also took steps to address the controversies that had shadowed him. He engaged with regulators and critics openly, acknowledging mistakes and outlining plans for improvement. His candor surprised many and began to soften public opinion. Interviews revealed a man more reflective and grounded, willing to admit faults without defensiveness. These moments of vulnerability contributed to reshaping his image from a reckless maverick to a mature leader. The narrative also explores Elon's ongoing inner dialogue, the tension between ambition and humility, between past impulses and future intentions. He journaled regularly, capturing insights and frustrations alike. These entries revealed a man striving to integrate his past lessons with his vision for the future, a process marked by both progress and setbacks. Vivid descriptions of Elon's daily routine punctuated the narrative: early mornings filled with meditation and exercise, afternoons spent in collaborative meetings, evenings devoted to family and close friends. The sensory details, the crisp morning air, the hum of electric engines being tested, the aroma of coffee shared during brainstorming sessions, immersed readers in the texture of his evolving life. The chapter maintained the climax, hope, climax structure by highlighting moments when Elon's confidence surged, followed by doubts about whether lasting change was possible, only to be buoyed again by small victories and support from his circle. This emotional rhythm kept the story engaging and relatable. Unexpected challenges arose, too, including a technical setback at SpaceX that threatened to derail a major launch. Rather than reacting with frustration or blame, Elon approached the problem with patience and openness to input, embodying the lessons he had learned. This incident became a microcosm of his transformation, a test of resilience, collaboration, and emotional intelligence. As the chapter progressed, Elon's journey illustrated a broader theme. That true leadership involves not just vision and drive, but empathy, humility, and the willingness to evolve. This evolution was not linear or easy, it involved confronting uncomfortable truths and making difficult choices. Yet, the narrative conveyed a hopeful message, that change is possible when grounded in self-awareness and supported by genuine relationships. By the end of the chapter, Elon had laid the groundwork for a new chapter in his life, one where personal growth and professional achievement were intertwined rather than at odds. The story's tone blended optimism with realism, acknowledging that the path forward would have obstacles but emphasizing the power of persistence and connection. The final lines of the chapter echoed the story's core message, that redemption and renewal are within reach for those brave enough to face their deepest fears and open their hearts to change. This installment deepened the character development, enriched the emotional texture, and set the stage for further revelations and growth in the chapters to come. The following weeks marked a pivotal expansion in Elon Musk's journey of transformation, where the seeds of personal renewal began to blossom into a broader vision that extended beyond himself. With the detox behind him and the initial waves of emotional clarity settled, Elon turned his attention outward, driven by a renewed sense of purpose that was grounded in empathy and a deeper understanding of interconnectedness. The first step in this new phase was a commitment to sustainability, not just as a business strategy but as a personal mission. At Tesla, he championed initiatives to reduce environmental impact, pushing for innovations that would make electric vehicles more accessible and affordable. But this time, the approach was different, less about speed and more about thoughtful progress. The narrative paints vivid scenes of design meetings filled with spirited but respectful debate, engineers collaborating late into the night fueled by shared passion rather than relentless pressure. Elon's leadership style had shifted from demanding to inspiring, fostering a culture where creativity and well-being coexisted. Simultaneously, SpaceX embarked on new projects aimed at sustainability in space exploration, including efforts to develop reusable rockets with even greater efficiency and minimal environmental footprint. Elon's vision extended to the farthest reaches of the solar system, yet it was deeply rooted in the desire to preserve Earth for future generations. The story details the juxtaposition between the vastness of space and the fragility of our planet, underscoring the urgency and beauty of this mission. Alongside these professional endeavors, Elon deepened his commitment to philanthropy. Inspired by his detox experience and the compassion it awakened, he began investing in mental health initiatives and educational programs focused on emotional resilience. These efforts were not only financial but deeply personal. He engaged with organizations, shared his story candidly, and sought to create spaces where others could find healing and growth. The narrative highlights moments of Elon visiting community centers, speaking with young people facing their own struggles, and witnessing the transformative power of support and understanding. This human connection enriched the story, grounding the larger-than-life figure in everyday acts of kindness and solidarity. Elon's personal relationships continued to evolve as well. He rekindled old friendships and nurtured new ones, prioritizing quality time and authentic connection. Family gatherings became more frequent and meaningful, filled with laughter, shared memories, and honest conversations. The story captures these intimate moments with detailed sensory descriptions: the warmth of a fire crackling in the fireplace, the aroma of home-cooked meals, the sound of children's laughter echoing through the rooms. These scenes contrasted beautifully with the high-stakes world of innovation, reminding readers of the balance Elon sought to maintain. The chapter also delves into Elon's ongoing internal journey. He grappled with doubts and setbacks, moments when the weight of expectation threatened to overwhelm him. But armed with the tools and insights gained from his detox and emotional work, he navigated these challenges with resilience and grace. Meditation, journaling, and therapy remained vital practices, anchoring him amid the chaos. The narrative describes these practices in detail, inviting readers to experience the rhythms of Elon's daily life: the quiet mornings of reflection, the deliberate pauses during hectic days, the grounding rituals that restored balance. True to the story's emotional arc, the climax, hope, climax rhythm persisted. Elon faced a significant professional hurdle when a new Tesla model's launch was delayed due to unforeseen technical issues. The setback was a blow, threatening to undermine months of progress and investor confidence. Initially, frustration and self-doubt crept in, but Elon quickly shifted perspective, viewing the challenge as an opportunity to learn and improve. His transparent communication with the public and his team fostered trust and collective problem-solving. This incident symbolized the ongoing tension between ambition and patience, between pressure and compassion. The chapter also explores the evolving public perception of Elon Musk. Media coverage began to shift, reflecting his growth and efforts toward authenticity and responsibility. Interviews and profiles highlighted his vulnerability and commitment to change, painting a more nuanced portrait than the reckless genius stereotype. The story examines the power of narrative in shaping legacy, and how Elon's willingness to embrace imperfection made him more relatable and inspiring. As the chapter drew to a close, Elon's journey felt far from over, yet the trajectory was clear. He was no longer defined solely by achievements or failures but by his capacity for transformation and connection. The story's tone blended hopeful optimism with grounded realism, emphasizing that growth is a continuous process marked by both triumphs and setbacks. The final lines underscored a central truth: that real progress, whether personal or professional, requires patience, empathy, and the courage to keep moving forward despite uncertainty. This chapter enriched the narrative by expanding Elon's character beyond his public persona, revealing the complex, evolving man beneath. It set the stage for deeper explorations of the interplay between innovation, humanity, and the environment in the chapters to come. Elon Musk's journey through transformation continued to unfold with increasing complexity as he confronted the intricate dance between his public ambitions and private vulnerabilities. The previous chapters of Detox, emotional breakthroughs, and shifts in leadership style had prepared him for a new phase, one that demanded not just change but sustainability of that change amid external pressures and internal conflicts. The challenge was no longer merely personal but systemic, as Elon grappled with the realities of being a global figure whose decisions could ripple through industries and societies. This chapter dives into the tension that arises when visionary goals collide with human limitations. The narrative opens with Elon facing a high-stakes meeting at SpaceX, where engineers and executives debated the feasibility of an audacious mission to establish a permanent human settlement on Mars. The room was thick with tension, the air charged with excitement and skepticism. Elon, balancing his visionary idealism with the lessons of humility learned through his detox, listened carefully to concerns about safety, cost, and ethical considerations. The scene is described with vivid detail: the sterile conference room bathed in cold fluorescent light, the rapid-fire exchange of technical jargon, the palpable undercurrent of hope and fear. This moment encapsulated the core tension. How to pursue bold innovation responsibly, without sacrificing the humanity that had become central to Elon's evolving philosophy. At home, Elon wrestled with the demands of his work-life balance. Late nights spent poring over technical reports and strategy plans were often interrupted by pangs of guilt over missed family moments. His relationships, though stronger, were not immune to strain. The story details a poignant conversation with a close friend who gently reminded Elon that true leadership involved knowing when to step back and recharge. This dialogue revealed Elon's ongoing internal conflict, the drive to push forward weighed against the need for self-care and presence. This tension was a critical emotional thread, reflecting the universal struggle many face when chasing ambitious dreams. The chapter employs the climax, hope, climax structure to maintain narrative momentum. An initial climactic moment occurs when a key test rocket fails spectacularly during launch, sending shockwaves through SpaceX and casting doubt on the mission's viability. The fallout is immediate, media scrutiny intensifies, investor confidence wavers, and the team's morale plummets. Elon's leadership is put to the test. Yet, amidst this low point, hope emerges in the form of a rallying team meeting. Elon's transparent acknowledgement of the failure, combined with his unwavering belief in the mission, reignites the team's determination. His vulnerability fosters solidarity rather than despair. This turning point is portrayed with emotional intensity, the shift from devastation to renewed resolve captured through raw dialogue and detailed body language. However, the chapter does not shy away from the subsequent climax, the heavy toll this roller coaster takes on Elon's health and relationships. Stress-induced insomnia returns, and old anxieties creep back. A moment of crisis arrives when Elon experiences a panic attack during a public event, a stark reminder that progress is not linear. The narrative uses this event to highlight the fragility beneath the surface, making the story relatable and deeply human. These struggles are described with honesty and empathy, inviting readers to see beyond the myth of invincibility. The story also introduces the role of Elon's support network in sustaining him through these challenges. Friends, family, and mental health professionals play crucial roles, providing perspective, encouragement, and grounding. Scenes of therapy sessions, heart-to-heart talks, and quiet companionship enrich the emotional texture. These moments illustrate that transformation is not a solitary journey but one supported by community and connection. The chapter's setting shifts between the high-tech hubs of Tesla and SpaceX, bustling cityscapes, and intimate domestic spaces, creating a dynamic backdrop that reflects the multifaceted nature of Elon's life. Descriptions are vivid and cinematic, the hum of machinery, the glow of computer screens, the softness of a well-worn armchair, all grounding the narrative in sensory detail. The public's perception of Elon continues to evolve alongside his personal journey. Media portrayals become more nuanced, capturing the complexity of his character. Some remain critical, others admiring, but the dominant narrative is one of a man striving to reconcile genius with humility. The story explores how this evolving image impacts Elon, both as motivation and pressure. As the chapter closes, Elon faces a pivotal decision about the Mars mission. A decision that will define not only the future of the project but also his own leadership legacy. The story leaves readers on a cliffhanger, heightening anticipation and underscoring the stakes. The closing lines emphasize a core message, that true progress requires courage to face failure, resilience to rise again, and wisdom to balance ambition with care. This chapter deepens the exploration of Elon Musk's character and journey, blending high-stakes drama with intimate emotional insight. It sets the stage for subsequent chapters that will further unravel the complexities of innovation, personal growth, and the human spirit. The decision about the Mars mission loomed over Elon Musk like a tempest gathering strength. The weight of ambition, responsibility, and personal risk converged into a singular moment that would test everything he had learned on his journey through detox, transformation, and leadership. As the leader of SpaceX, Elon understood that this mission was not just a technological feat but a symbol of humanity's aspirations and limitations. The narrative opens with Elon alone in his office late at night, surrounded by blueprints and data streams glowing softly on screens. The quiet hum of machines and the distant city lights created a stark contrast to the storm raging inside him. This scene sets a tone of introspection and gravity, inviting readers to witness the crossroads where vision meets vulnerability. Elon's internal dialogue unfolds with raw honesty. Questions about whether the risks were justified, the ethical implications of sending humans to such a hostile environment, and the potential costs to those who trusted him. The story portrays these thoughts through vivid mental imagery and metaphor, likening Elon's mind to a vast, uncharted frontier where hope and doubt danced in equal measure. The chapter follows Elon as he consults with his closest advisors, engineers, and loved ones. Each conversation reveals different facets of the mission's complexity and Elon's evolving perspective. Some urge caution, highlighting the dangers and uncertainties, while others emphasize the importance of pushing boundaries for the sake of progress. These dialogues are crafted with nuanced character voices and emotional stakes, deepening the narrative's tension. Amid these discussions, Elon recalls lessons from his detox and emotional work, the importance of balance, humility, and listening deeply. This remembrance influences his approach, making him more receptive to diverse viewpoints and more transparent about the risks involved. The narrative captures the subtle shifts in his leadership style, less autocratic, more collaborative, through detailed interactions and body language. The climax rhythm remains central, with a climactic moment when Elon announces a tentative go for the mission but with revised safety protocols and phased milestones. The decision is met with mixed reactions, excitement from some quarters, apprehension from others. Elon's resolve is tested as he braces for the challenges ahead. The story then pivots to explore the immediate aftermath, the preparations for the mission in full swing. Scenes of engineers working tirelessly, simulations running around the clock, and logistical hurdles being overcome create a dynamic and immersive backdrop. The detailed descriptions of technology and human effort intertwine to showcase the synergy of innovation and perseverance. Concurrently, the narrative delves into Elon's personal life, illustrating how the mission's enormity affects his relationships. Moments of tenderness with family and friends offer respite from the intensity, while instances of conflict reveal ongoing tensions. The story portrays these dynamics with emotional depth, highlighting the sacrifices made in pursuit of a dream. The chapter also addresses the broader societal impact of the mission. Media coverage intensifies, public debates ignite, and philosophical questions about humanity's future are raised. Elon becomes a focal point of both admiration and scrutiny, navigating this landscape with a mix of confidence and humility. The narrative includes vivid descriptions of public appearances, interviews, and behind-the-scenes moments that reveal the pressures and rewards of leadership on a global stage. As the chapter progresses, Elon confronts unforeseen obstacles, technical glitches, budget overruns, and political resistance threaten to derail progress. These setbacks are portrayed with dramatic tension, emphasizing the unpredictable nature of pioneering work. Yet, each challenge is met with problem-solving, collaboration, and renewed determination, embodying the story's themes of resilience and hope. The emotional arc peaks when Elon faces a personal crisis triggered by the mounting pressure, a moment where past fears resurface, threatening to overwhelm him. This climax is depicted with intense psychological insight, using sensory detail and internal monologue to convey vulnerability. However, hope is restored through the support of his network and his own hard-won coping strategies. The chapter concludes with a sense of cautious optimism. Elon stands at the threshold of a monumental endeavor, aware of the risks but committed to the vision. The final lines evoke a powerful metaphor, the journey to Mars as a leap into the unknown, illuminated by the light of perseverance and guided by the compass of human spirit. This chapter deepens the story's exploration of leadership, ambition, and the human capacity to face uncertainty with courage. It balances technical detail with emotional resonance, maintaining narrative momentum while enriching character development. The tone blends gravity with inspiration, preparing readers for the unfolding saga of innovation, sacrifice, and transformation. As the Mars mission preparations accelerated, Elon Musk found himself increasingly at the crossroads of visionary ambition and human fragility. The enormity of the undertaking weighed heavily on him, yet it also ignited a profound sense of purpose that had been rekindled through his personal journey of detox and reflection. The narrative opens with Elon in the control room during a critical simulation test. The room buzzed with focused energy, engineers monitoring data streams, technicians adjusting instruments, and Elon himself absorbed in every detail. The description captures the electric atmosphere, the tension mingling with excitement, and the sense that history was being made. This scene reflects the culmination of months of preparation and the collective hopes of countless individuals. Elon's mind, however, was not solely on the technical aspects. He reflected on the human element, the lives that would be forever changed by this mission. He pondered the courage it would take for the astronauts to leave Earth behind, the sacrifices inherent in such a voyage, and the legacy they would create for generations to come. The narrative delves deeply into Elon's psychology, portraying his empathy and the weight of responsibility that tempered his boldness. Interspersed with these professional scenes are glimpses into Elon's personal life, where the strains of his commitment surfaced in intimate moments. A dinner conversation with a close family member revealed vulnerabilities and fears, underscoring that behind the public persona was a man wrestling with doubt and hope. These domestic scenes are described with sensory richness, the clinking of cutlery, the warmth of candlelight, the quiet pauses in conversation, offering a counterpoint to the high-tech world of the mission. The climax, hope, climax, narrative pattern continues to drive the emotional arc. A critical test results in a near-catastrophic failure, plunging the team into crisis. Elon's leadership is tested as he must navigate disappointment and fear, both his own and that of his team. Yet, through transparent communication and unwavering belief in the mission's purpose, he rekindles hope. This moment is depicted with intense emotional detail, tense dialogue, expressions of doubt and reassurance, and the collective determination to overcome adversity. Yet, the story does not shy away from the subsequent climax, the realization that despite meticulous planning, uncertainty remained an ever-present companion. Elon's recurring insomnia and anxiety resurfaced, reminding him of the human limits even in the face of technological prowess. These personal struggles are portrayed with honesty and vulnerability, allowing readers to connect with the man behind the myth. The narrative introduces new characters who play pivotal roles in supporting Elon and the mission. Among them is a lead astronaut candidate whose own story of perseverance and sacrifice mirrors Elon's journey. Their interactions bring depth and emotional resonance, highlighting themes of courage, teamwork, and shared dreams. The settings shift fluidly between the sterile simulation rooms, bustling design labs, and quiet moments of reflection, creating a vivid tapestry that immerses readers in the story's world. The chapter also explores the broader societal implications of the mission. Public opinion remains divided, enthusiasm mingled with skepticism, hope intertwined with fear of the unknown. Media coverage amplifies these tensions, portraying Elon alternately as a hero and a risk-taker. The story captures these dynamics through detailed descriptions of press conferences, social media debates, and personal conversations, emphasizing the complex interplay between innovation and public perception. As the chapter progresses, unexpected technical breakthroughs emerge, revitalizing the project and infusing the team with renewed energy. Elon's approach to leadership continues to evolve. He delegates more, trusts his team's expertise, and embraces collaboration. This shift is depicted through nuanced interactions and changes in organizational culture, reinforcing the story's themes of growth and maturity. The emotional climax arrives when Elon, overwhelmed by the cumulative pressures, experiences a profound moment of clarity during a solitary walk beneath the night sky. The vastness of the stars, the quiet beauty of the cosmos, and the fragile blue dot of Earth below evoke a deep sense of connection and purpose. This scene is described with lyrical detail, capturing the interplay of awe, humility, and resolve. The chapter ends on a hopeful yet realistic note, acknowledging that the journey ahead will be fraught with challenges, but affirming that with courage, empathy, and determination, humanity can reach for the stars. This installment deepens the narrative by weaving together technical drama, emotional insight, and philosophical reflection, maintaining a compelling balance that keeps readers engaged and inspired. Elon Musk's story continues to unfold as a testament to the transformative power of vision tempered by humanity. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon Musk's journey through the Mars mission preparation entered a phase of relentless momentum, propelled by breakthroughs, setbacks, and the unyielding human spirit that underscored every step. The chapter opens with a vivid depiction of a breakthrough moment in SpaceX's engineering labs, where a team of brilliant minds finally resolves a critical flaw in the spacecraft's life support system. The air is thick with relief and triumph, described in sensory detail, the clatter of keyboards, the low murmur of focused voices, the smiles shared between exhausted colleagues. Elon, though exhilarated, remained grounded, aware that every victory was part of a much larger and more complex puzzle. The story captures his evolving leadership style, less the isolated visionary, more the collaborative conductor guiding a symphony of expertise and passion. At home, Elon's personal life continued to provide both sanctuary and struggle. Intimate scenes reveal tender moments with loved ones. An impromptu family gathering filled with laughter and storytelling, the warmth of human connection providing respite from the high-stakes world of innovation. Yet, tension lingered, as the relentless pace of work often encroached on these precious spaces. The narrative uses sensory imagery, the aroma of home-cooked meals, the softness of a shared blanket, the quiet comfort of familiar voices, to deepen the emotional texture. The climax narrative structure remains a steady heartbeat. An unexpected supply chain disruption threatens to delay the mission, plunging the team into crisis. Elon confronts this setback with a mixture of frustration and determination, mobilizing resources and rallying his team to devise creative solutions. This dramatic tension is portrayed through vivid dialogue, body language, and the interplay of hope and despair that defines high-stakes innovation. Despite these pressures, moments of hope emerge. A successful test of the spacecraft's new systems renews confidence, and Elon's transparent communication with stakeholders fosters trust and shared commitment. The story highlights the emotional roller coaster that accompanies such monumental endeavors. Alongside these professional challenges, the chapter delves into Elon's internal landscape. His meditation practice deepens, providing moments of calm amidst the storm. The narrative paints scenes of quiet mornings, the ritual of mindful breathing, and the gentle focus that helps him navigate stress and uncertainty. These insights into his self-care underscore the theme that true leadership requires attention to one's own well-being. New characters are introduced who bring fresh perspectives and dynamics to the story. Among them is a young engineer whose passion and idealism inspire Elon, reminding him of the importance of nurturing the next generation. Their interactions add layers of mentorship, legacy, and hope for the future. The chapter also explores the broader cultural and ethical questions surrounding space exploration. Public forums, debates, and media coverage illustrate the diverse opinions on the mission's value and risks. Elon engages thoughtfully with these discussions, advocating for responsible innovation that honors both human curiosity and caution. Vivid descriptions of these societal dialogues enrich the narrative's complexity. As the chapter progresses, unexpected challenges continue to arise, technical failures, political obstacles, and personal sacrifices test Elon's resolve. Yet each trial is met with renewed ingenuity and empathy. The emotional climax arrives when Elon faces a moment of personal reckoning, questioning the cost of his dreams on those he loves and the legacy he wishes to leave. This introspective scene is rendered with emotional depth and nuance, capturing the universal tension between ambition and connection. The chapter closes with a powerful metaphor, a rocket poised on the launch pad, embodying potential and peril, waiting for the moment to defy gravity and reach for the stars. This imagery encapsulates the story's themes of hope, risk, and transformation. The tone remains hopeful yet realistic, acknowledging the uncertainties ahead while celebrating the human spirit's capacity to endure and aspire. This installment enriches Elon Musk's story by weaving technical drama with profound emotional insight and philosophical reflection. It balances the grandeur of cosmic ambition with the intimate realities of human experience, sustaining narrative momentum and deepening character development. The reader is left eager to follow the unfolding saga, inspired by the resilience and vision that propel this extraordinary journey. Elon Musk's odyssey toward Mars had entered a new phase, where the confluence of technological innovation, human perseverance, and unforeseen adversity shaped the trajectory of the mission and his personal evolution. The chapter begins in the early dawn hours at SpaceX headquarters, where Elon reviews telemetry data from the latest spacecraft trial. The lab buzzes with quiet anticipation, the subtle glow of monitors illuminating determined faces. Despite the team's painstaking preparations, a sudden anomaly in the propulsion system sends shockwaves through the operation. The story captures the immediate tension, the frantic troubleshooting, terse exchanges, and the palpable mixture of frustration and urgency that fills the room. Elon's calm yet focused leadership emerges as a beacon amidst chaos. His internal monologue reveals a mind simultaneously racing through technical possibilities and reflecting on his journey from impulsive risk-taker to measured visionary. The narrative delves into his emotional landscape, feelings of responsibility, doubt, and unyielding hope intertwined in a complex dance. Meanwhile, in his private life, Elon wrestles with the growing chasm between his professional obligations and personal relationships. Late-night calls with his partner reveal candid moments of vulnerability and strain, underscoring the sacrifices embedded in pursuing dreams of cosmic magnitude. The story's sensory details. The faint hum of distant city life, the soft crackle of a phone line, the aching silence between conversations, heighten the emotional intimacy. The climax, hope, climax structure propels the narrative forward. After the propulsion setback, hope flickers when a creative solution emerges from a junior engineer, whose fresh perspective reinvigorates the team. Elon's willingness to embrace new ideas and share credit signals his ongoing growth as a leader. Yet, the subsequent climax arrives as budget constraints imposed by external political forces threaten to stall the mission, casting doubt on its future. This financial and bureaucratic hurdle adds layers of complexity and realism, illustrating how visionary projects must navigate not only technical but also systemic challenges. The chapter also introduces a broader societal canvas, depicting media reactions and public discourse. Some commentators praise Elon's visionary spirit, while others criticize the perceived hubris and risks. The story captures these polarized views through vivid excerpts of news reports, social media debates, and public forums, reflecting the multifaceted nature of innovation in a connected world. Within this milieu, Elon's interactions with his support network become vital. Scenes of quiet counsel with trusted advisors, moments of shared frustration with friends, and therapeutic reflections portray the importance of community in sustaining resilience. These relationships are rendered with nuanced emotion and authenticity. The settings shift between the high-tech command center, intimate domestic spaces, and public arenas, creating a dynamic narrative environment. Descriptions evoke the sterile precision of engineering labs, the comforting warmth of home, and the charged atmosphere of press events, immersing readers in the multifaceted world Elon inhabits. As technical and financial pressures mount, Elon confronts personal health challenges, recurring bouts of exhaustion and anxiety. The narrative does not shy away from these vulnerabilities, portraying them with compassion and depth. A poignant scene depicts Elon in a moment of quiet reflection, grappling with the physical and emotional toll of his relentless pursuit. This honesty enriches the character's humanity and invites reader empathy. The emotional climax culminates in a decisive board meeting where Elon must advocate passionately for continued funding. The tension is palpable as stakeholders weigh risks and rewards. Elon's speech, crafted with a blend of rational argument and heartfelt appeal, is a narrative highlight, revealing his evolved capacity to inspire and persuade. The chapter closes on a note of cautious optimism: funding is secured, but challenges remain. Elon's gaze turns skyward, symbolizing the enduring dream that drives him forward. The final lines echo the story's central themes of vision, perseverance, and the interplay of ambition and humility. This chapter deepens the exploration of Elon Musk's journey, blending technical drama, emotional insight, and societal context. It underscores the complexity of pioneering change and the resilience required to navigate a path fraught with uncertainty and opposition. Readers are drawn further into the narrative, eager to witness the unfolding of this extraordinary endeavor. The mission to Mars was no longer a distant dream but a looming reality, and Elon Musk's world revolved around a relentless cycle of problem-solving, decision-making, and emotional endurance. The chapter begins with Elon arriving early at the SpaceX launch facility, the pre-dawn chill wrapping around him as he gazes up at the towering rocket poised on the launch pad. The scene is rich with sensory detail. The metallic scent of machinery, the faint rumble of engines in testing, the crisp air punctuated by murmurs of technicians preparing for a critical pre-flight check. This moment of quiet before the storm sets a tone of anticipation and gravity, reflecting the high stakes of the endeavor. Elon's thoughts are a swirling mix of excitement and apprehension. His internal dialogue reveals the complexity of leading a mission that embodies humanity's boldest hopes and deepest fears. He contemplates the sacrifices made, not only his own but those of the astronauts who will embark on this perilous journey, and the countless individuals whose efforts have built the foundation for this moment. The narrative draws on vivid metaphor, likening the rocket to a phoenix ready to rise, symbolizing rebirth and the triumph of human will. The story shifts seamlessly between the high-tech environment of the launch control room and intimate flashbacks of Elon's past, moments of struggle, doubt, and breakthrough that have shaped his character and vision. These memories provide emotional resonance, illustrating how personal history intertwines with public ambition. The climax, hope, climax pattern continues to underpin the narrative's rhythm. A critical system check initially suggests a fault, sending a ripple of tension through the team. Elon's measured response, balancing urgency with calm, helps steady the collective nerves. The flaw is resolved, reigniting hope, only for a new challenge to emerge moments later, reminding readers that the path to greatness is never linear. Throughout these sequences, detailed descriptions of technical processes are interwoven with emotional insight, making the complexity accessible and engaging. Elon's leadership style is portrayed as evolving, marked by increasing trust in his team and openness to collaborative problem-solving. The narrative captures the subtle shifts in group dynamics, emphasizing the power of shared purpose and mutual respect. Concurrently, the chapter explores the toll of the mission on Elon's personal relationships. A poignant scene depicts a heartfelt conversation with a close family member, where unspoken worries surface amid expressions of love and support. The story uses sensory imagery, the warmth of a hand clasped, the softness of a familiar voice, to convey intimacy and vulnerability. These moments provide balance to the high-pressure professional environment, underscoring the human dimension of the journey. The chapter also expands on the societal context surrounding the mission. Media frenzy intensifies as launch day approaches, with public excitement mingling with anxiety. The story vividly portrays press conferences, interviews, and social media buzz, illustrating the mission's global significance and the scrutiny borne by its leader. Elon navigates this landscape with a blend of charisma and humility, aware of the symbolic weight he carries. Unexpected obstacles continue to test the mission's momentum, regulatory delays, last-minute technical glitches, and logistical hurdles challenge the team's resilience. The narrative heightens tension through detailed depictions of crisis management, teamwork, and the relentless drive to overcome adversity. Emotional stakes rise as the countdown clock ticks inexorably toward launch. The climax arrives with the dramatic final pre-launch meeting, where Elon and his team must make the ultimate decision, to proceed or postpone. The scene crackles with intensity, dialogue crackling with urgency and conflicting opinions. Elon's voice, steady and resolute, embodies the story's themes of courage and conviction. The resolution sees the decision to launch affirmed, sparking a wave of exhilaration tempered by the sobering awareness of the risks ahead. The chapter closes with evocative imagery of the rocket lifting off against the dawn sky, a majestic, fiery ascent symbolizing human aspiration and the unknown journey beyond. This visual metaphor encapsulates the narrative's emotional core, leaving readers with a sense of awe and anticipation. This installment deepens the story's exploration of ambition, sacrifice, and leadership under pressure. It balances technical detail with emotional depth, maintaining a compelling pace and rich character development. The tone is both hopeful and grounded, reflecting the complexity of undertaking a mission that pushes the boundaries of possibility. Readers are drawn into the unfolding saga, poised on the edge of history as Elon Musk and his team embark on their extraordinary voyage. The rocket had soared beyond the atmosphere, a blazing comet streaking toward the stars, but Elon Musk's journey was far from over. The exhilaration of liftoff gave way to a tense period of orbital checks and course corrections, where every system's performance was scrutinized with surgical precision. The chapter opens with Elon in the Mission Control Center, eyes fixed on the cascading data streams, a subtle furrow of concern betraying the calm exterior. The hum of computers and the low murmur of engineers created a backdrop of focused urgency. Detailed descriptions of the spacecraft's telemetry, oxygen levels, fuel consumption, navigation vectors, are interwoven with Elon's reflections on the fragile balance between human ingenuity and the vast unknown. The narrative captures the paradox of progress, the rocket's triumphant ascent juxtaposed with the daunting silence of space, reminding readers of the precariousness of human endeavor beyond Earth. Amid this technical crucible, Elon's mind wanders to the astronauts aboard the spacecraft. Through vivid interior monologues, the story explores their experiences, moments of awe as they gaze back at Earth, feelings of isolation mingled with camaraderie, and the weight of responsibility for a mission that could redefine humanity's future. Their stories are told with empathy and detail, enriching the narrative's emotional texture. The climax, hope, climax pattern persists as a central narrative engine. An unexpected fluctuation in the spacecraft's power systems triggers a surge of tension in mission control. Elon's leadership is tested as he marshals his team through rapid diagnostics and creative problem-solving. The relief that follows is palpable, yet it is swiftly tempered by the realization that space is an unforgiving frontier, where each success is a prelude to new challenges. This emotional rhythm heightens the story's momentum and engagement. Interspersed with the technical drama are poignant scenes of communication between Elon and his team, illustrating the importance of trust, transparency, and shared purpose. The narrative emphasizes the human connections that sustain high-pressure endeavors, portraying moments of encouragement, frustration, and quiet resolve. In parallel, Elon's personal life remains a complex tapestry. Moments of solitude reveal his struggles with exhaustion and doubt, as well as his determination to persevere. The narrative employs sensory details, the taste of strong coffee, the cool touch of a windowpane, the rhythm of deep breaths, to convey the physical and emotional toll of leadership. New characters come into focus, including mission specialists and psychological counselors who support the astronauts and ground team. Their perspectives add depth to the story, highlighting the multifaceted nature of space exploration and the collaborative effort behind every milestone. The chapter also delves into public reactions as news of the mission's progress spreads worldwide. Media coverage ranges from celebratory headlines to skeptical analysis, reflecting the diverse hopes and fears invested in the endeavor. Elon's responses to interviews and public addresses reveal a leader attuned to the broader impact of his work and conscious of the responsibility he bears. As the spacecraft approaches a critical waypoint, unexpected space debris forces a swift course adjustment, injecting renewed tension into the narrative. The team's coordinated response, described with vivid detail and technical precision, showcases human ingenuity and resilience in the face of unpredictable dangers. The emotional climax centers on Elon's reflection during a brief moment alone after the successful maneuver. The vastness of space outside the control center's windows mirrors the vastness of his own aspirations and uncertainties. This introspective scene is rendered with poetic imagery and emotional nuance, reinforcing themes of courage, vulnerability, and hope. The chapter concludes with a message of perseverance. The mission is far from complete, but each challenge overcome brings humanity closer to its cosmic destiny. The tone balances awe and realism, inviting readers to share in the wonder and gravity of pushing beyond earthly limits. This installment deepens the narrative's blend of technical adventure and emotional exploration. It portrays Elon Musk as a visionary tempered by humanity, driving forward with determination amid uncertainty. The reader is left eager to follow the unfolding journey, inspired by the resilience and shared dream at the heart of this extraordinary quest. Space had never felt so vast, so simultaneously thrilling and terrifying, as Elon Musk's mission advanced deeper into the cosmic ocean. The chapter opens with a panoramic description of the spacecraft gliding through the endless black, stars piercing the darkness like distant promises. Inside the control center on Earth, Elon and his team monitor every heartbeat of their creation with unrelenting focus. The air is thick with tension, broken only by the rhythmic beeps and murmured updates from engineers and astronauts alike. Elon's thoughts race as the spacecraft approaches a critical juncture, the midpoint of its journey to Mars, a symbolic and literal crossing into uncharted territory. The narrative delves into the technical complexities of deep space navigation, explaining in accessible language how gravitational forces, solar winds, and minute course adjustments can mean the difference between success and disaster. Yet beneath the technical layer lies the human story. The fears, hopes, and resilience of everyone involved. The climax narrative structure maintains its steady pulse. A sudden warning from the spacecraft's environmental control system triggers an immediate flurry of activity. Elon's leadership shines as he guides his team through the crisis, balancing calm authority with the urgency the moment demands. The threat, a drop in oxygen circulation, forces the crew into rapid problem-solving, highlighting the life-or-death stakes of space exploration. Relief washes over the control room when the issue is resolved, but the lingering uncertainty serves as a reminder of the precariousness of their journey. Interwoven with these high-stakes moments are intimate glimpses into the astronauts' daily routines, their exercises to combat muscle loss, moments of quiet reflection gazing at a pale blue dot in the distance, the camaraderie that sustains them. The story captures these details with vivid sensory imagery, the sterile smell of recycled air, the rhythmic pulse of heartbeat monitors, the tactile sensation of exercising in zero gravity, making readers feel present inside the spacecraft. Elon's personal arc deepens as he wrestles with the emotional cost of the mission. Scenes portray his late-night conversations with loved ones, where vulnerability breaks through the veneer of stoic leadership. The narrative uses subtle sensory cues, the softness of a whispered voice, the warmth of a shared embrace, to convey connection and sacrifice. New dimensions of Elon's character emerge, showing a man shaped by ambition yet grounded in empathy. The chapter also expands on the broader societal impact. Public engagement intensifies as live feeds and updates bring the mission's realities into homes worldwide. The story includes snapshots of diverse reactions, children inspired to dream big, skeptics warning of hubris, families watching with bated breath, painting a rich cultural tapestry. Elon's reflections reveal his awareness of this shared journey and the weight of hopes riding on his shoulders. Unexpected challenges continue to arise. The spacecraft's communications array experiences intermittent failures, threatening the vital link between Earth and crew. The narrative details the painstaking efforts to diagnose and repair the system, illustrating the blend of high technology and human ingenuity at play. The emotional tension rises as silence threatens isolation, only to be broken by successful restoration, a moment celebrated quietly but profoundly by the team. The emotional climax unfolds as Elon takes a solitary moment in the control center's observation deck, gazing at the stars that are both destination and mystery. His internal monologue reveals a profound meditation on humanity's place in the cosmos, the fragility of life, and the enduring power of hope. This scene is rendered with poetic language, creating a powerful resonance that elevates the narrative beyond technical achievement into philosophical reflection. The chapter closes on a note of resilient optimism. Though challenges abound and the path ahead is uncertain, the mission embodies the indomitable spirit of exploration and the collective dream of reaching beyond known horizons. The tone is both grounded and inspiring, inviting readers to contemplate the extraordinary journey unfolding before them. This installment enriches the story by weaving together technical detail, emotional depth, and cultural context. It portrays Elon Musk not just as a pioneering engineer but as a deeply human figure navigating the vast unknown. The reader is drawn further into the saga, eager to witness the next chapter in this historic endeavor. The approach to Mars was fraught with tension that electrified the entire Mission Control Center. Elon Musk stood amidst his team, eyes sharp and unblinking as streams of data scrolled across the massive screens. The spacecraft had endured weeks of space's merciless vastness, but the most perilous phase awaited: the entry, descent, and landing on the red planet's unforgiving surface. The chapter opens with a vivid description of the Martian horizon looming through the spacecraft's external cameras, a swirling canvas of red dust storms and jagged terrain that seemed simultaneously alien and hauntingly beautiful. Elon's mind cycled through decades of dreams and setbacks, the enormous weight of history pressing upon this critical moment. The narrative details the technical marvels designed to ensure a safe landing: heat shields glowing with frictional fire, retro rockets firing with precise timing, autonomous systems executing split-second decisions. The complexity is rendered with clarity, inviting readers into the heart of cutting-edge aerospace engineering while maintaining a steady emotional undercurrent. The climax, hope, climax rhythm pulses powerfully here. Initial telemetry suggests a smooth entry, sparking a surge of relief. But suddenly, sensors detect anomalies in the descent trajectory. An unexpected gust of Martian wind threatens to destabilize the spacecraft. Elon's voice rises, commanding calm and focus, as his team races to adapt. The hope of a perfect touchdown collides with the raw unpredictability of an alien world. Through detailed dialogue and vivid descriptions of frantic but disciplined action, the story conveys the razor-thin margin between success and failure. Simultaneously, inside the spacecraft, the astronauts experience a whirlwind of sensations: the crushing pressure of deceleration, the eerie quiet punctuated only by mechanical hums, and the awe-inspiring sight of Mars growing ever closer through portholes. Their emotional responses, fear, determination, wonder, are portrayed with nuance and immediacy. The narrative shifts seamlessly between external technical tension and internal human experience, heightening immersion. Elon's personal reflections are woven throughout, revealing his evolving perspective. Moments of quiet resolve contrast with flashes of anxiety and memory, the childhood wonder inspired by space, the early ventures that nearly broke him, the sacrifices exacted by relentless ambition. These elements deepen the reader's connection to his journey. The chapter also portrays the wider world's reaction in real time. News outlets broadcast live updates, families and enthusiasts gather around screens, social media erupts with hope and apprehension. Elon's communications team works feverishly to manage the narrative, aware that the eyes of the world are fixed on this singular moment. Unexpected setbacks continue to raise stakes. A brief power fluctuation threatens critical systems, forcing last-minute contingency protocols. The team's rapid adaptability is a testament to preparation and teamwork. Tension peaks as the spacecraft nears the surface, descending into a Martian dust storm that obscures visibility and tests sensors. The emotional climax arrives as Elon watches the final seconds unfold, the silence in mission control deafening, punctuated only by the spacecraft's faint signals. When confirmation of landing success crackles through, relief floods the room. Cheers erupt but tempered by the recognition that survival on Mars is just beginning. The closing scene captures Elon's contemplative moment alone, gazing at the now solid ground beneath the spacecraft and imagining humanity's future on this distant world. Poetic descriptions convey both the enormity of the achievement and the vast challenges ahead. This chapter crystallizes the narrative's themes of courage, innovation, and resilience. It balances technical excitement with profound emotional insight, portraying a pivotal moment in human history through the eyes of a visionary and his team. Readers are left inspired by the triumph and mindful of the ongoing journey, eager to follow the unfolding saga of exploration and discovery. Mars was no longer a distant dream but a tangible reality under Elon Musk's watchful eyes. The chapter opens with the first sunrise on Martian soil, captured through the rover's cameras and broadcast back to Earth. The crimson horizon glows faintly, dust particles suspended in a thin, cold atmosphere, creating an eerie but mesmerizing dawn. Elon watches the live feed from the makeshift command center on Mars, a compact habitat where engineers and astronauts alike are adapting to their new environment. The setting is described in meticulous detail: the sterile yet homey interior, the humming life support systems, the claustrophobic yet hopeful atmosphere of a fragile outpost on a hostile planet. The narrative balances technical description with emotional texture, immersing readers in the astronauts' daily lives and the gravity of their pioneering existence. The climax, hope, climax structure pulses through the story as new challenges quickly arise. Early efforts to establish sustainable life support systems encounter unexpected complications. A water recycling module malfunctions, triggering urgent repairs and tests. Elon's leadership and problem-solving skills are on full display as he coordinates remote troubleshooting, emphasizing collaboration and calm under pressure. Relief follows the successful fix, yet the hope is short-lived when a dust storm sweeps across the habitat, threatening power supplies and visibility. The tension escalates as the team braces against nature's fury, their resolve tested by the unforgiving environment. The astronauts' psychological struggles are also explored in depth. Isolation, sensory deprivation, and the vastness of space weigh heavily on their minds. Elon's interactions with the crew, both direct and through video calls, reveal his empathy and the emotional intelligence that complements his technical brilliance. Scenes convey the nuanced emotional landscape. Loneliness softened by camaraderie, despair balanced by determination. The chapter also broadens its focus to humanity's reaction on Earth. The mission has become a cultural phenomenon, inspiring educational programs, art, and global conversations about humanity's future. The story captures this societal ripple effect through vivid scenes: a classroom of children animatedly discussing Mars, a family watching updates with awe, public rallies celebrating the achievement. Elon reflects on the symbolic power of the mission and the responsibility it entails. Unexpected obstacles continue to shape the narrative. A malfunction in the communications satellite network briefly severs contact with Earth, heightening isolation and urgency. The team's swift and innovative response is detailed with technical precision and emotional depth, highlighting human adaptability. The emotional climax is a quiet but profound moment where Elon, alone in the habitat's observation module, contemplates the stars visible through the thick glass. His thoughts wander to Earth, their home, fragile and distant, and to the boundless possibilities ahead. Poetic imagery and introspective language elevate this scene, inviting readers to share in a meditation on exploration, sacrifice, and hope. The chapter closes with a cautiously optimistic tone. While challenges remain daunting, the successful establishment of a foothold on Mars marks a new chapter for humanity. The narrative leaves readers with a sense of awe and anticipation, poised on the threshold of an unprecedented adventure. This installment deepens the story's emotional and thematic richness, blending technical realism with profound human insight. It portrays Elon Musk as a leader not only of innovation but of spirit, guiding humanity's first steps on another world. The reader is drawn into this unfolding saga of resilience, discovery, and the enduring quest to reach beyond. As the days on Mars stretched into weeks, the weight of solitude and responsibility bore down on Elon Musk and his team like an invisible gravity. The chapter opens with a detailed depiction of the habitat's interior, a blend of advanced technology and makeshift ingenuity. Every inch of space is optimized for survival, with hydroponic gardens providing a fragile thread of green against the barren red landscape visible through reinforced windows. Elon moves through the habitat with purposeful steps, checking instruments, coordinating schedules, and monitoring the delicate balance of life support systems. The narrative draws readers into the sensory world of Martian living: the recycled air's sterile scent, the faint hum of machinery, the tactile resistance of pressure suits, the constant presence of screens glowing with data. The climax, hope, climax structure weaves tension and relief through the daily grind. A sudden drop in oxygen levels sparks alarm, triggering a tense but swift problem-solving session that showcases the crew's expertise and teamwork. The crisis resolves, renewing hope, only to be followed by an unexpected failure in the power grid caused by a dust accumulation on solar panels, plunging the habitat into darkness. The stakes are immediate and life-threatening, underscoring the fragility of human existence on an alien world. Amid these external challenges, the story delves deeply into the psychological strain on Elon and the astronauts. Scenes of quiet reflection contrast with moments of frustration and exhaustion. Elon's internal monologue reveals the complex interplay of determination, doubt, and resilience driving him forward. The narrative uses rich sensory imagery, the rough texture of a worn notebook, the distant echo of footsteps in narrow corridors, the sharp taste of recycled water, to create an immersive emotional atmosphere. Relationships within the team are explored with nuance and warmth. Bonds forged under pressure reveal moments of humor, tenderness, and conflict, painting a realistic portrait of human dynamics in extreme conditions. Elon's leadership style is portrayed as evolving, balancing authority with empathy, inspiring trust while acknowledging vulnerability. The chapter broadens to include Earth's perspective. The mission has ignited global fascination, with cultural events, scientific debates, and political discussions swirling around humanity's bold new frontier. The story captures this with vivid scenes, a late-night TV panel dissecting Mars implications, a school science fair inspired by the mission, social media conversations blending hope and skepticism. Elon's public statements reflect a leader mindful of his role in shaping not just technology but collective imagination. Unexpected developments continue to challenge the crew. A critical system that regulates habitat temperature malfunctions during a Martian night, threatening hypothermia. The team's resourcefulness and quick action avert disaster, reinforcing themes of ingenuity and survival. The emotional climax arrives in a quiet but powerful scene where Elon, gazing at the stars through the habitat's observation dome, allows himself a rare moment of vulnerability. His thoughts encompass the enormity of the mission, the sacrifices made, and the uncertain future awaiting humanity on Mars. This introspective moment is described with poetic language, creating resonance that elevates the narrative beyond technical adventure into philosophical meditation. The chapter closes on a tone of cautious hope. While the challenges remain vast and the future uncertain, the successful adaptation to Martian life marks a profound milestone. The story leaves readers inspired by human tenacity and the enduring quest to push boundaries. This installment enriches the narrative by deepening emotional complexity and expanding thematic scope. It portrays Elon Musk as a visionary tempered by humanity's fragility and strength, guiding a mission that is as much about heart as science. The reader is invited to continue the journey, sharing in the triumphs and trials of humanity's first foothold on another planet. The final chapter of this epic journey begins with the dawn of a new era, humanity's first true foothold on Mars, forged through relentless determination, innovation, and sacrifice. Elon Musk stands in the habitat's observation module, bathed in the soft red light of the Martian sunrise filtering through dust-filled skies. Around him, the crew prepares for the day's critical tasks, expanding the habitat, initiating experiments, and continuing the vital work of survival. The chapter's opening scene is painted with vivid detail, the quiet hum of life support systems, the distant rumble of dust storms beyond reinforced walls, the tactile precision of suited astronauts handling delicate instruments. Elon's reflections reveal a profound sense of accomplishment mingled with the daunting awareness of challenges still ahead. The narrative reinforces the central themes of resilience, hope, and human ingenuity. The climax structure pulses with intensity. Just as the crew begins to feel a rhythm to Martian life, a sudden seismic tremor shakes the habitat, a reminder that Mars, though conquered in many ways, remains wild and unpredictable. Panic rises, but Elon's calm leadership steadies the team, guiding them through emergency protocols with clarity and confidence. The hope of establishing a permanent home flickers anew as the habitat withstands the quake, sparking relief and renewed determination. Emotional depth permeates the chapter as the story shifts between moments of external crisis and internal transformation. Elon's personal journey comes full circle, reflecting on the sacrifices made, the relationships tested and strengthened, and the vision that propelled humanity to this moment. Scenes of camaraderie and quiet conversations reveal the humanity underpinning this extraordinary mission. The chapter also captures the global impact of the mission's success. News broadcasts, social media celebrations, and heartfelt messages from families and supporters underscore the mission's unifying power. Elon's public address is depicted with stirring language, emphasizing themes of unity, exploration, and the boundless potential of human spirit. Unexpected twists continue to unfold. A breakthrough in situ resource utilization promises greater self-sufficiency, offering hope for future expansion. Yet new technical challenges emerge, reminding readers that the road ahead will demand relentless innovation and perseverance. The emotional climax arrives in a poignant scene where Elon stands alone under the vast Martian sky, contemplating the enormity of what has been achieved and the promise of what lies ahead. His thoughts intertwine personal reflection with universal aspiration, articulated through poetic imagery and profound insight. The chapter closes on a note of enduring optimism and profound humanity. Life on Mars is only beginning, but the mission stands as a testament to courage, vision, and the unyielding desire to explore. The final lines echo a powerful message, that even in the face of immense challenges, hope and love illuminate the path forward. This concluding chapter weaves together the narrative's threads, technical marvel, emotional resilience, philosophical reflection, offering a satisfying and inspiring resolution. Elon Musk emerges as a figure of complex humanity, embodying the spirit of exploration that drives us all. Readers are left with a lasting impression of a story that transcends science fiction to become a real testament to human potential and the transformative power of dreams realized. The horizon stretched out endlessly beyond the habitat's reinforced glass, a muted swirl of rust-colored dust and rocky plains under a pale pink sky. Elon Musk stood alone in the observation module, the weight of the journey pressing on him like the thin Martian atmosphere pressing on the fragile dome around him. This wasn't just about technology or exploration anymore, it was about humanity's future, and the sacrifices that future demanded. The quiet hum of the life support systems filled the silence, broken only by the distant crackle of communications coming through from Earth and the occasional beep from monitoring instruments. The chapter opens with Elon reflecting on the past weeks, the challenges overcome, the moments of near disaster, and the small victories that had kept hope alive. The story paints a vivid picture of the Martian habitat's interior, the compact hydroponic gardens struggling to sustain crops, the tightly packed living quarters, the carefully rationed water supplies. Every element tells a story of adaptation, ingenuity, and resilience. The narrative unfolds through a mix of internal monologue and interactions with the crew, giving readers a deep emotional connection to the characters. The climax, hope, climax rhythm continues to drive the tension and release. Early in the chapter, a sudden malfunction in the habitat's air filtration system causes a dangerous spike in carbon dioxide levels. Panic ripples through the crew as alarms sound and emergency protocols kick in. Elon's calm yet decisive leadership is on full display as he coordinates the response, delegating tasks and troubleshooting alongside the engineers. Relief comes when the issue is resolved, but it's a stark reminder of how fragile their situation remains. The story then shifts to a hopeful moment. The crew manages to harvest a successful crop of potatoes from the hydroponic garden, a milestone in their quest for self-sufficiency. The joy and camaraderie that follow are depicted with warmth and detail, laughter, shared meals, the pride in nurturing life on another planet. However, the hope is short-lived as a new challenge emerges. A dust storm approaches rapidly, threatening to cut off solar power and communications. The crew springs into action, securing equipment and preparing for the long hours of isolation. The tension ratchets up as the storm rages outside, the habitat shuddering under the force of Martian winds. Inside, the crew's nerves fray, but moments of vulnerability and solidarity deepen their bonds. Elon's own reflections reveal the burden of command, balancing hope with realism, inspiring others while wrestling with his own fears. The chapter also explores the psychological toll of isolation and the vast distance from Earth. Through conversations and personal moments, the story portrays the crew's coping mechanisms, video calls home, shared stories, moments of quiet meditation. These scenes bring a humanizing depth to the narrative, making readers feel the emotional weight of pioneering life so far from home. The global reaction on Earth is interwoven throughout, highlighting the mission's continuing impact on humanity's collective imagination. Public interest remains high, with new educational initiatives, cultural projects, and debates about the ethics and future of Mars colonization. Elon's communications team manages this delicate balance of transparency and optimism, aware that the world's hopes and fears are tethered to their success. Unexpected technical glitches add to the mounting challenges. A solar panel's motor seizes up, reducing power efficiency just as the dust storm reaches its peak. The crew improvises repairs under difficult conditions, showcasing human ingenuity and teamwork. The emotional climax arrives in a poignant scene where Elon, gazing out at the storm's red haze, contemplates the fragility and resilience of life on Mars. And by extension, humanity itself. His thoughts flow in poetic rhythms, blending scientific wonder with philosophical insight. The chapter closes on a tone of cautious optimism. Despite the setbacks and the relentless hardships, the crew's perseverance and innovation illuminate a path forward. The story leaves readers inspired by the indomitable spirit driving this historic mission. This chapter deepens the emotional texture of the narrative, balancing high-stakes action with intimate character moments. Elon Musk emerges as a leader shaped not just by vision but by compassion and resolve, guiding humanity's first steps toward a multiplanetary future. Readers are drawn further into the journey, eager to witness the unfolding saga of survival, discovery, and hope on the Red Planet. The Martian dawn seeped through the thick observation window, painting the habitat's interior with a soft, rusty glow. Elon Musk sat alone at the edge of the command center, his eyes tracing the red horizon, endlessly vast and yet achingly close. Every morning brought with it a mixture of awe and anxiety, a reminder of the fragile bubble humanity had carved out on this alien world. The chapter opens by immersing readers in this quiet, tense moment, the stillness broken only by the faint hum of machinery and the distant, barely perceptible shifts in the Martian landscape. Elon's mind wandered back to the mission's earliest days, the launch, the perilous journey through space, the harrowing descent. Now, with a foothold established, the challenge was no longer just survival but thriving amid unforgiving odds. The narrative captures the starkness of Martian life with vivid detail, the recycled air's dry coolness, the faint metallic scent of machinery, the soft crunch of boots on dust. The crew's daily routines unfold with a blend of methodical precision and personal ritual, tending to hydroponic crops, maintaining vital systems, and carving out moments of connection in a world defined by isolation. The climax, hope, climax rhythm pulses steadily throughout the chapter, carrying the tension and release of life on Mars. An early crisis erupts when a critical water filtration unit falters, threatening the habitat's precious reserves. Elon and the engineering team work feverishly, problem-solving under intense pressure. The tension mounts as precious minutes tick by, but finally, through a combination of ingenuity and teamwork, they restore function, allowing the team to breathe a collective sigh of relief. Hope blooms anew, only to be tempered moments later by a sudden warning. An unexpected increase in solar radiation levels detected by orbiting satellites. The crew must enact emergency protocols, seeking shelter in the habitat's shielded areas while Elon coordinates with mission control back on Earth. The narrative delves deeply into the physical sensations and emotional weight of this moment, the claustrophobic enclosure, the quiet beeps of monitors, the unspoken fears shared among the crew. These scenes are rendered with cinematic detail, pulling readers inside the character's experience. Throughout the chapter, Elon's leadership shines, balancing calm decisiveness with genuine empathy. His interactions with the crew are portrayed with warmth and authenticity, emphasizing trust, encouragement, and shared purpose. Moments of personal vulnerability surface, humanizing the visionary behind the mission and deepening readers' emotional connection. The story also broadens to include the earthbound perspective, illustrating how the mission's ripple effects continue to transform global culture and consciousness. Scenes of families watching live updates, classrooms inspired by Martian science, and passionate debates about humanity's future enrich the narrative's scope. Elon's public messages reflect a thoughtful leader aware of his role in shaping not just technology but hope itself. Unexpected technical and environmental challenges persist. A malfunction in the habitat's energy storage system coincides with a minor dust storm, compounding power constraints. The crew's resourcefulness and resilience are vividly depicted as they adapt schedules and conserve energy. The emotional climax arrives in a quiet but powerful scene. Elon stands beneath the habitat's translucent ceiling, gazing at the stars faintly visible through the Martian dust. His thoughts swirl around the fragility and perseverance of life, the vastness of the universe, and the unyielding human spirit driving this historic endeavor. The prose blends poetic imagery with reflective insight, elevating the moment beyond mere survival into philosophical meditation. The chapter closes on a note of tempered optimism. While the journey remains fraught with peril and uncertainty, the crew's unwavering determination and innovation light the way forward. Readers are left with a sense of awe and anticipation, poised on the cusp of new discoveries and deeper understanding. This chapter enriches the narrative's emotional depth and thematic resonance, portraying Elon Musk not just as an innovator but as a compassionate leader navigating the complexities of human endurance on an alien world. The story continues to weave together technical marvel, emotional resilience, and philosophical reflection, inviting readers to share in the unfolding saga of hope, challenge, and boundless possibility on Mars. The red dust settled slowly outside the habitat's thick windows, leaving a muted silence in its wake. Elon Musk sat at the edge of the common area, staring down at the flickering monitors that displayed the latest readings from the Martian surface. The storm had passed, but its impact lingered, a stark reminder that Mars was still wild and unpredictable. The chapter opens with a sense of quiet resilience, setting the tone for what would become a pivotal moment in the mission. Inside the habitat, life returned to its delicate rhythm, the soft rustling of hydroponic leaves, the hum of machinery, and the occasional laughter or quiet conversation among the crew. Elon's mind, however, was far from calm. The events of the past weeks had weighed heavily on him, the near disasters, the technical setbacks, and the emotional toll of isolation. The story dives deep into Elon's psyche, exploring his thoughts and fears alongside his unwavering determination. The narrative carefully balances the tension of the external environment with the internal struggles of the characters. The climax, hope, climax pattern drives the chapter forward. Early on, a promising breakthrough arises. A new water extraction technique developed by the crew shows potential to dramatically increase their supplies. This innovation sparks hope, rekindling a sense of possibility amid the harsh Martian landscape. The crew's excitement is palpable, described through lively dialogue and shared celebrations, painting a vivid picture of camaraderie and human spirit. But as optimism builds, a new crisis emerges. A critical power converter suddenly fails, threatening the habitat's electrical stability. The story details the technical challenge with precision, weaving in the crew's frantic efforts to diagnose and repair the fault. Elon's leadership is again at the forefront, guiding his team with calm focus and strategic insight. The tension escalates as backup systems strain to compensate, pushing resources to their limits. The emotional core of the chapter lies in the personal interactions amid the crisis. Moments of vulnerability and support highlight the crew's resilience and interconnectedness. Elon shares a quiet conversation with his closest confidant, revealing doubts and hopes that humanize the visionary. These intimate scenes are rich with emotional nuance, contrasting with the high-stakes technical drama. The broader narrative continues to reflect Earth's fascination and engagement with the mission. Global communities rally around the progress and setbacks, their voices interwoven into the story through news updates, social media posts, and heartfelt messages from families of the crew. Elon's public communications emphasize transparency and shared purpose, reinforcing the mission's symbolic power. Unexpected developments add complexity to the plot. The crew discovers traces of ancient water ice beneath the surface, a finding that could revolutionize their resource strategy. This scientific breakthrough injects new energy into the mission, portrayed with wonder and excitement. Yet, the harsh realities of Martian life remain ever present, as environmental hazards and equipment wear take their toll. The chapter's emotional climax arrives during a quiet night cycle, when Elon stands outside the habitat in his suit, looking up at the stars above. The vast, silent expanse contrasts sharply with the bustling life inside, prompting profound reflections on humanity's place in the cosmos. His thoughts weave scientific curiosity with philosophical insight, creating a resonant moment that deepens the story's thematic reach. The chapter closes on a note of cautious optimism, underscoring the balance between hope and challenge that defines the mission. Readers are left with a vivid sense of the fragile yet unyielding spirit driving humanity's first steps on Mars. This installment enriches the narrative by blending technical detail, emotional depth, and philosophical reflection. Elon Musk emerges not only as an innovator but as a leader shaped by empathy and resilience, guiding a team and a species into the unknown. The story continues to invite readers into a world where every success is hard-won and every setback a call to greater determination. The glow from the habitat's solar arrays flickered faintly as the sun dipped behind the jagged Martian horizon, casting long shadows across the rocky terrain. Elon Musk sat at the communication console, fingers poised over the controls as he prepared to initiate the day's video call with Earth. The silence of the habitat was punctuated only by the soft hum of machinery and the occasional beep from monitoring systems. This chapter opens on a moment of quiet anticipation, a bridge between two worlds separated by millions of miles. As Elon connected with Mission Control, the conversation revealed the complex interplay between hope and hardship that defined life on Mars. The crew shared updates on recent experiments and repairs, the successes and setbacks blending into a tapestry of perseverance. The narrative delves into the emotional resonance of these moments, highlighting the bittersweet nature of communication when distance magnifies both connection and isolation. The climax, hope, climax rhythm unfolds as a new problem surfaces. A micrometeorite impact damages a critical section of the habitat's exterior. The crew scrambles to assess and contain the breach before the thin atmosphere inside can be compromised. Elon's leadership and calm under pressure guide the team through the tense hours that follow. The detailed descriptions of repairs, from sealing breaches to reinforcing structural integrity, immerse readers in the technical challenges of living on another planet. Amid the crisis, moments of warmth and humor emerge, lightning flashes of humanity that sustain the crew's morale. The story explores the psychological effects of these relentless pressures. Elon wrestles with the dual weight of his visionary drive and the tangible risks faced by his team. His internal dialogue reveals vulnerability and resolve, illustrating the complex emotional landscape of command. The broader narrative reflects the continued fascination and emotional investment of Earth's population. Scenes of classrooms tuning in, social media buzzing, and families watching updates emphasize the mission's role as a global beacon of hope and aspiration. Unexpectedly, the crew discovers that the meteorite impact has exposed subsurface ice, a potential boon for water resources. This scientific discovery injects a surge of hope and excitement, renewing the crew's determination. The chapter's emotional climax arrives as Elon, standing on the habitat's airlock ramp, gazes out at the barren but beautiful Martian landscape under a sky transitioning from twilight to star-studded night. His reflections blend a deep sense of responsibility with awe and wonder at the fragile foothold humanity has established. The prose balances technical precision with poetic imagery, capturing the tension between fragility and resilience. The chapter closes on a tone of cautious optimism, emphasizing the mission's ongoing challenges and the unyielding human spirit that drives it forward. Readers are left with a vivid sense of the day-to-day reality of Martian life, fraught with danger yet filled with moments of connection, discovery, and hope. This chapter deepens the story's emotional and thematic layers, portraying Elon Musk as a leader whose vision is tempered by compassion and steadfastness. The narrative continues to blend scientific innovation, human drama, and philosophical reflection, inviting readers to share in the unfolding saga of humanity's first steps on the Red Planet. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?